Hey guys, Terry here, and I'm joined today by Trisha Hershberger from SourceFedNERD, fellow lady of the internet and fellow gamer. Today we're going to be talking about episode 1 of The Wolf Among Us. Before we get into that, I just want to say that we are going to be talking about everything in this game, including spoilers. So if you haven't played it yet and you would like to, by all means, go buy it. It's $5. It's 2 hours long. You can bang it out, this afternoon, and then come back and watch this video.
Absolutely. So
Yes.
yeah, no complaints in the comments that we spoiled stuff for you.
No.
We're telling you right now, spoilers.
None at all.
Yes.
So now, The Wolf Among Us. Did you read the Fables comic before, or did you go into this completely
I
blind?
kind of touched on the Fables comic before. It's not one of the ones that I'm like diehard, every single issue have to have. I dabbled and then I got out for other things. So I was familiar with this storyline. But the game itself takes place 20 years before.
Yeah, and there's no prerequisite knowledge or anything, from what I understand. It's separate, but it's sort of still in canon. So let's talk about some of the major decisions in the game. I think one of the first ones is when Toad calls you up and asks you to go to his place. You're investigating this murder at Prince Lawrence's house, or that you think may have happened at Prince Lawrence's house. What did you choose in that situation?
I chose Toad's house.
Okay.
What did you choose?
I chose that first, but then I went back.
Okay.
I was actually, the first time I played it, I was there with one of the guys from Telltale, and he was telling me that there was actually a way so that Prince Lawrence lives in the end of the game.
I saw that at the end of the game when it says, here's the choices you made. It says you
Exactly.
chose to let Prince Lawrence die. And I was like, what do you mean I chose?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't do it.
I chose Toad because I thought that was a more urgent situation.
And the guy was still there. You could maybe catch the guy.
Exactly. But if you go to Prince Lawrence's place first and Tweedledee or Tweedledum, whichever one it is, comes out and attacks him, if you come out of the closet and attack him before then, you can actually prevent his death. So in the second playthrough, I prevented it.
Nice.
Yeah, I have no idea how that's going to matter later on in the story, because it seems like going to another big decision in the game, which is your prime suspect.
Yes.
You're at the bar. You can choose to either arrest the woodsman, or you can arrest Tweedledee.
Right.
And you chose...
I chose the woodsman, and I immediately regretted it.
That was exactly my reaction first, too, because I was like, well, this guy's obviously evil. But I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, we're episode 1 of a whole season. The first person you suspect is probably not going to be
It's probably not it. I chose him because I didn't think he was guilty at the time, but I thought he had information. And I was like, I don't know if Tweedledee has any information. So far as I know, he's just a hired hand. So maybe he really can't give me anything, whereas I know, or I heavily suspect, that the woodsman can give me some information. So I'm taking him in.
Now, did you rip the guy's arm off?
Yes.
I only did that because Job, the guy from Telltale, was like, rip his arm off! And
Just
I was
'cause
like,
you can?
okay! Yeah, it was scary.
That was a fun thing about the combat, too, is you kind of, like, yes, the combat mechanics were a little icky. I'll use the technical term, icky. But you got to decide, I'm going to throw him over here, and then I'm going to smack him with this, and, like, the blood's flying everywhere.
I was like, you know what, I've been too nice up until this point. It's time to just, like, break some arms off.
You harnessed your inner big
Exactly.
wolf
Exactly.
and got a little nasty.
All this never happened.
One aspect of the story that we haven't touched on is the whole Beauty and the Beast thing, which didn't play a huge part in this one, but it seems like based on the little thing they have at the end of the episode where it's like, next time on Wolf Among Us, it seems like that's going to take more of a leading role in the story.
I think so, too.
How do you think that's going to play out?
I honestly, I'm not sure what's going on. If this is something that's given later on in the comics, I didn't get to that. But yeah, I just, as a player, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I didn't yell at Beauty. I was nice to her, but the first time I played through it, I chose to say, you're not supposed to be on the grass and everything, and she got kind of timid. So the second time I played through it, I just kind of said, I stay out of this.
Yeah.
Which was better, because when I put, like, stay out of the grass and then just silence, it was like, Beauty will remember that.
Yeah.
When you just choose silence. I was like, oh God. So I just stayed out of it with everybody in my last playthrough. So
there's definitely something shady going on there, and I'm curious to find that out.
What do you have any hypothesis?
I don't have a hypothesis about that aspect of the story yet, But I do have a hypothesis about the suspect.
I think it's got to be something having to do with Bluebeard, just because we didn't get any information about him besides when you find that file. And then Bigby reads the file, but you, as the player, don't get to read that file. I don't know what was in there.
And if you don't go over there, you don't even know who Bluebeard is until they randomly mention him later in the episode.
Right, so he's definitely something, and I also think the pimp has something to do with it that
he's
we don't
also
know
a
yet.
possibility, although that seems like a little bit of an easy target as well.
It does.
I'm curious to know if the killer has to be one of those 5 prime suspects. I'm sure later on down the line of episodes, as they introduce new characters and stuff, that will change, but I always thought that Crane looked a little bit creepy and like, because, well, also, like, Decapod Crane, he chops people's heads off. That's a connection right there. And like that whole part where he was in his office and he's like, I'm gonna go get my massage now. Where's my wine?
Oh, he's definitely a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick, but he's also, I think he's lying about something. And it's not totally clear. And people had some crazy theories there. I think Crane is probably one of the ones that makes sense a little bit more to me. But, I mean, again, like, there's so many characters that we've barely been introduced to. I think, like, the whole Beauty and the Beast thing might tie into the serial killer thing somewhere down the line. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. If you guys have played The Wolf Among Us, of course, let us know what you think. I've also got my review up on this very channel. Trisha, if people want to find you, where can they do that?
You can go to youtube.com/SourceFedNERD. That's where the stuff that I make lives. Or you can always find me on Twitter at ThatGirlTrish. No I in the girl.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for watching.